everyone. It's good to not see you, I was about to say, because I don't, but I see the number of participants, which is great. I'm actually personally very excited about today and this webinar. The background for this webinar is years of express demand for a store link solution supporting both the B2C and the B2B motion. And the thing is, which all of you know, is when I founded the company, it was all about B2C and its optimal print and the consumer business. And then in 2016, 17, we said that we would go into the B2B business. And at one point, we were even offering Gelato Globe, which was, for Lufthansa and Mercedes and all of those global companies. But it ended up being Gelato Create, which was more towards the creator economy. Nevertheless, we have kind of two legs that we have built. One during the last kind of 15 plus years, which is the consumer business. And then we have another leg, which is the B2B, which we have built both for global companies, as I mentioned, but also for the whole creator economy. And the demand that you have said is, we are on Prosaro, we are on Infigo or other services. We want something that is more up to date, easier to use, and more battle tested, which I think both Optimal Print's solution and Gelato Create is truly battle tested. So we have two additional team members here. Zach, who is leading our sales in North America. And I'll let you introduce yourself, although I think most people on this call know very well who you are, Zach. But the interesting thing is, Zach, you have for the last year also pushed the whole team into this solution because this is a demand that you've heard over and over again.
Yes, correct, Henrik. And thank you everyone for joining today, and many familiar folks, but for those who don't know me, Zach Brinkman, Director of Sales, been with Gelato since the beginning of 2024. And exactly right, Henrik, in hundreds of conversations, if not into the thousands over the last few years, particularly in the last year, a lot of conversations have been built around, how can we really streamline and automate our B2B business? It's so manual today. We still have, 8 different touch points internally or 4 different team members that are plugging into this process. And, it's painful. And there's about 30 to 50% on average of that traditional job-based work that comes from B2B that really can be streamlined and automated. And, I believe there's such an opportunity here to drive those B2B customers into this type of solution, automate this process, improve margins and profitability, and ultimately, unlock so much potential for PSPs anywhere around the world. And this is what I'm so excited about. I think these are a couple of the coolest solutions and use cases that I've seen, and I'm so excited for these. And I think this is really modernizing and changing how folks think about web to print and what you can do in the B2C e-commerce economy.
Yeah, before Alyssa, just add on that, Zach. I mean, we also must relate to the fact that we now have war, supply chain challenges, things that just challenge global trade. So local on-demand production with the growth of the creator economy and the need for B2B, large global B2B companies to move production locally, all of this is fueling the growth potential of this industry. But before we get there, Alyssa, please, we've worked together for many years, but I'm not sure everyone has met you.
No, I haven't had the pleasure. My name is Alyssa Rivera. I work with product at Gelato. I have been with Gelato for 10 years and been part of building Optimal Print, Gelato Create, Gelato Globe, and now I'm so excited to bring the power of all of those solutions to all of you as well.
All right. So Zach, do you want to take it away or?
Yeah, absolutely. And Henrik, I do think you're really right about the change in just what's happening in the world. The supply chain is presenting what some might call challenges, but if you look at it from a different lens, I think there's so much opportunity actually within this space to adapt and change and find new ways to help provide solutions that ultimately drive more growth. And as a sales leader, growth and revenue are the two the top of mind things for me. That's why I'm excited. We really want to focus in on that. And yeah, Alyssa, next slide, please. For you out there, I really want you to think about, how many software tools do we have in place today to ingest tools? When we think about workflow solutions, so often I hear 4 different workflow solutions, 5 different workflow solutions, but the same ultimately applies for being able to ingest orders and all the different software tools and technologies necessary to manage your customers and receiving customers from orders. And Alyssa, next slide, please. Henrik had mentioned a few of these, but so often there's a tech stack that includes 3 of these, 5 of these, and the cost associated with some of these platforms is well over $100,000 just from a setup. And ultimately, that is not something that is sustainable when you need 5 different software platforms to onboard customers, as well as then you get the ongoing maintenance costs associated with it. And similar to what we see with so many different systems out there, just the lack of innovation that comes with it. And this is really where we've heard from so many customers this need and focus on B2B and ultimately trying to provide a much more modern solution that you can simplify this whole process. You can provide your customers the experience you want, but in a situation where you're not expanding your tech stack and growing that tech stack internally. Henrik, I know you've had some conversations really recently too with folks. What have you been hearing from customers or prospective customers when it comes to these type of web to print platforms?
No, I mean, what I've been hearing is that there has been no AI innovation from any one of these players. And I think that AI for us, and when I say us, I mean all of us on this call, is at the heart of what we all need to inject into our business. And I think the powerful thing is Alyssa, who will double click on why we're excited about both the web to print and the B2C. This is what Alyssa is doing with all of her engineers and all of her product managers on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, right? And the pace of change in AI is so fast that if you're not an AI native software company now, you also as a customer will fall behind. So ultimately, what we want to deliver here is an amazing user interface for your end customers. And that is not only the procurement manager at the B2B company, but the users in that company. So yeah, with that, next slide, please.
Yeah, and this has been, something I've heard quite often, and I would say actually far too often, that, customers have been turned away because of the integration or the onboarding would be too complex, or it's a system where, you don't have the integration into it, such as a Shopify, Etsy, even Amazon. Having to turn down customers is something that shouldn't be a conversation internally. Ultimately, it should be a yes, let's onboard that customer, let's get in that new business and have an unlimited ability throughout the year to onboard as many customers as you want. And when we think about all these changes taking place in the market, I always think about Shopify. And Alyssa, if you don't mind going to the next slide, I remember looking at Shopify stock in 2020 and where that stock was and where it is today. And if any of you want to go check out the stock market on Shopify, it's insane the growth it's experienced over the last 5 years. And the creator economy is booming. The move to personalization, the move to, local on demand. This is a $480 billion industry that ultimately we want to help you capture. And it's through the direct integrations into this B2C world where there is so much growth potential, but it's historically been a challenge because it is integrations where you need to maintain or to onboard new customers, or even just to set up the products could be a 3-month process with how solutions are out there today. But this needs to be simplified down and has been now with Store Link, that you can essentially say yes to any order and really tap into this $480 billion opportunity that really is in front of us today. And Henrik, I know this has been a big part of your life and your journey with Gelato. So I want to defer to you for some, reflections around the opportunity in B2C.
Yeah, I want to share a data point that I shared with some of you that perhaps were at the Lisbon event. And if not, so in 2026, 71% of all the purchasing decisions, and now I speak B2B, and I'll come to why I mentioned this example, 71% will be taken by people born after 1990. And unfortunately, it is not me. So we are speaking about a Gen Z and millennial, a proliferation in the procurement departments of any B2B company. So why did I say that now? I said it because the consumers on Etsy, Amazon, and so forth, TikTok, they are also the buyers in the B2B space. This is why the whole software power and the interface of these solutions is so fundamental. Because the consumer buying from Amazon today or Shopify is the customer that will buy from a global company tomorrow. The buyers are merging. And I have had a slide in the Lisbon event where I had one young lady receiving a parcel. And I asked, who is this customer? Is it a B2C customer? Is it a B2B customer? And she is both. And so that is why I'm excited about this, because this is just the shift of the whole consumer landscape, both in B2B and B2C. Next slide, please.
Yeah, I'm not one of those born after 1990 either, Henrik. So I'm there with you.
Yeah, unfortunately, I see that, Zach. So
Yeah,
apologies.
the grays. When, I ultimately think about all these different opportunities. There is unlimited growth potential through these different channels, and it's direct API integrations, B2B stores, automated FTP orders, and the web to print storefronts. When I talk to many folks trying to open up all these different channels, it could be blockers because it's additional softwares, there aren't the integrations, or you end up with a tech stack that's 10 solutions, 15 solutions. I mean, just in talking to one of our customers the other day that's on GelatoConnect, it was visiting us here in the Denver office. Within the first 6 months of being on GelatoConnect and implementing these systems, they've gone from 15 different softwares down to 3. And ultimately, the goal is by the end of the year to be on one software with Gelato, and that's where we're trending. But to be able to reduce a tech stack by 12, to have these different channels is just so powerful when you think about your operations, the order management, as well as your customer experience. Alyssa, next slide, please. And this is really just a visual of like how we can break this down, unlocking the B2C stores. When we think about Shopify, Etsy, Amazon, TikTok, WooCommerce, the B2B stores where we can replace your Infigos and Proceros all through one system with GelatoConnect Store Link. And I actually heard one of my favorite use cases actually is with JC at Imperial Custom and what they're doing on the B2C side, where they now will do TikTok lives for 3 hours. We'll have somebody go on a TikTok live. We'll have a whole pitch that they do over those 3 hours. And that's driving, new orders, new revenue to them where, they're able to intake these orders all through this new TikTok solution that they have set up with us. And I think it's a really cool use case for, the modern buyers that Henrik mentioned, your teenagers going out there looking for personalized, t-shirts and hoodies, getting those local and on demand, all driven through TikTok. And Henrik, I know there's some other things you wanted to share here as well.
No, I think I really want to get to the juicy stuff here and show what we built and where we're taking this. But I think the key here is I was in Paris recently. I looked at I visited 2 PSPs, and I think this is so telling. One was operating with Gelato and another without Gelato. And you have 2 almost identical, not totally, but very similar facilities. One is operating with a much higher profit margin, and the other, unfortunately, is not. And I think this slide actually explains why. It is impossible when you sit at a fragmented landscape trying to manage orders from 5, 10, 15 different sources, different channels, and bring that operational efficiency that you need end to end. And so for us also, it is super exciting to take this next step, because it just means that we know profitability will go up with our PSPs and with our customers. So with that, I think over to you, Alyssa, right?
We had a few more slides, but
Oh,
I
okay.
could talk about this all day. But how about this? How about we go to the demo, because that's the heart and the goal of today. And I'm very passionate about this, so I could easily speak for 45 minutes on it. But we'll turn it over to Alyssa.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to show you what we've done. I want to say as I start this demo, it is also cool to see, also very cool to hear the stories of how what I'm about to show you, this is the B2B storefront, but as Henrik and Zach mentioned, you can also connect Shopify, Etsy, WooCommerce, Amazon, TikTok, and many other integrations for B2C customers. One of the customers that we have told us that they were able to reduce the team from 17 contractors to 3, and they're putting out, it's a 95% reduction in listing time thanks to the AI tools that we provide on Store Link, both e-commerce and B2B, and they can list hundreds of products a day. So excited to hear those things and to see what you all are going to build. So speaking of what you can build, here is an example of a beautiful branded portal for a corporate client that you could have if you sign up to Store Link. These are all your own domain, completely customizable. You can put any type of HTML supported pages, brand colors, page editors, and really make this exactly what your corporate client would like or that you would like to have. You can see that it just looks really slick, and you can add any type of product. In this case, we got business cards, but you could add flyers, brochures, posters, stickers. You decide what type of catalog you want the corporate clients to be able to tap into. What we also offer is super easy personalization. So when you click into a business card, you see the information, you see the price, you also see the card itself. If you click into the back, you can really easily, it's so user-friendly. You can really easily just enter names. You can also define what part of the personalization should be touched, whereas what part should also be static. So for example, if I don't want my customer to be able to touch or my end customer to be able to touch the bottom half of this email, I can make that static. It's a super easy buying experience. You can add to cart, you can buy now, you can order on behalf of end customers. And it just feels like a very modern e-commerce experience. So yeah, just entering all the details, and you can pick shipping options and everything like that. So this is managed very, very, very easily. One person can manage multiple stores. This is how you build a page, the page structure. You can have as many pages as you want. Again, you can host it on your own domain. I'll show you how easy it is to put these together. Anyone can do it. I can do it. You can do it. There are drag and drop blocks. You can make them look however you'd like. You can bring in brand colors. You can also bring in, anything that makes it feel like your customer's brand. You can also upload HTML. So if you've got pages ready to go, you can just go ahead and add those as well. And there you go. You just see how easy it is to play around with the store builder. Just drop.
Just conscious here, because there's a lot of information, and for us and for you especially that is working with this on a daily basis, it's very natural to speak about it and show it. But if anyone has any questions, I'm monitoring the chat. Just please drop your question in the chat, and we'll stop and pause. Zach, from your perspective, so far into what Alyssa has shown, anything you want to share, anything you want to highlight and double click on here?
Yeah, I think this is a very recent example. I mean, someone I spoke with yesterday who were actually doing a demo with, and just a little bit around this. Works with a lot of very large, recognizable customers here in the US that are in hospitality and different cruise lines and different ventures. And right now, all the order intake from those customers is a manual process. It's a salesperson or a CSR answering those and putting those job tickets into the system. Now, these are repeat orders, they're SKU-based products, but it still is manual to get it in there. And what they want to do is a PSP, and as ultimately a way to better serve their customers is provide them with portals where they can go on. Those end customers can now do the ordering, and it's a super simplified process. And what that ultimately now is going to do is it's moving that manual work before into an automated ordering process, which, Henrik, to the 71% of buyers being born after 1990, we know they want the Amazon effect. They want ease of use. They're also not a group that typically picks up the phone. So being able to do this in an automated online fashion is going to be a better buyer experience for their customers. But then from a production standpoint, these are running on Ricos or Canons or HPs for these use cases, where now all the power of Connect comes into play and is going to create a lot more profitability. So I see so much within this solution where being able to take what is a manual order intake or order process today for B2B customers now digitally, and ultimately that's going to create such a better buyer experience for your customers. They're going to be returning to you because of this solution you set up for them is just so much easier. And this is where there's so much power behind this for how you can ultimately increase customer retention as well as revenue with customers.
Thank you, Zach. We got a question here from Liam. Is this hosted by Gelato, including the store page, or is this a headless CMS e-commerce that requires a front end to be hosted? Alyssa, please.
This is hosted by Gelato. So yeah, you can just get started very, very quickly.
Yeah. And then we have Troy, brother of Stefan. We got 5 questions, I think, from Stefan. I don't know if you remember them, Alyssa, but I think you answered all of them. And one of those 5 questions was about payment. So Troy's question is, does Store Link allow yet for credit card payments, Alyssa?
So great question, and great to see you, Troy. So Store Link does not right now offer credit card payments, but it's on the roadmap for the next couple of weeks. So you would be able to offer credit card payments in the checkout flow that I showed you previously, and take on any credit card, likely also PayPal. But please let us know what types of payment methods you're looking to offer.
Yeah, and just please continue to ask these questions, because there is nothing better to have a webinar like this when you post your questions and the things that you're thinking of. Since we have Troy here, can we go back to Stefan's 5 questions, Alyssa, and just if you remember some of them, because I do think people here are sitting with the same type of questions. And
yes.
If not, yeah, you go.
Yeah, so I'll start with them a little bit out of order, because I think that it makes sense. So he asked about SSO and security for login. So I want to show you that as a per client, you or the store admin have the ability to decide if the store is going to be public or not. So the end customers would have to log in if you decide to make it a private store. And if it's public, then of course, then they can just go on to the link and buy. He also asked about SSO for added security, and also obviously for user management. We know that also something that we do internally for security reasons. So SSO is also on the roadmap, and that is also planned to be added in the next 2 weeks. So you would not only have the security of a login experience, but you would also have SSO, making user management, especially at those larger corporates, super, super easy to do. Another thing that he asked for or about was personalization. So I showed you this inline personalization that's available now, but we are not stopping when it comes to personalization. One of the things that I'm super excited about when it comes to personalization and building products that we've got on our roadmap is also the ability to bring in InDesign files and not just create these products within the design editor, which is powerful in itself, but to bring in that InDesign file and have the AI just translate that into the customizable product that you would see here, that the end customer would be able to interact with. So with that, I covered he had a couple questions, one on SSO, one on personalization, and one on credit card processing that we covered just now. Yeah, so any other questions, please keep them coming.
Okay, should we go back to demo?
Yeah, sounds good. All right, so just covered the way that you can build the store. Super, super easy. Put it together however you'd like. You can also save these as templates and create as many pages as you need in order to sell the products. You have full control over the products that are available in the catalog. So there's 2 layers of catalog. You as PSPs can define what products you would like to offer, be it business cards, posters, apparel, any sort of merchandise that you want to offer. And then the store admin can pick it up and create the products that they would like to create. So in this case, we have business cards. These are also very easy to hide, to change. For example, oh, sorry. Having a little bit of a demo effect there, but easy to price change, edit, descriptions, all of that. Another thing that I wanted to bring up is that we give you a lot of control when it comes to user management. You can offer as PSP the ability for corporate clients to be store admins. So if we go to the admin tab, you can add different admins here. They have the ability to edit the store experience, to approve orders. I think Stephen also asked about approval of orders. I'll hit that in a second. But they cannot add or manage the products themselves. That's up to you as the PSP. But then the store admin can add these customer users. So these customer users are able to log in and to create products. Right now we have people can buy things and then it's invoiced. So it makes sense that it's strictly controlled, but once the credit card payments are allowed, then you can decide how you want to handle this.
But this is also important. So I read Troy's comment here, and please chip in, Zach, if you have anything else you want to comment on. But I think it is important that we have dealt with online payments and nothing else than online payments for the last 15 plus years. And we are working with the leading payment companies in Create and our consumer business. So again, and I mentioned this at the Lisbon event, I think we also need to share what are the good decisions we've taken, what are the bad decisions we've taken, and share the pain with that with our customers here on this call, so that you as a PSP don't assume that what you're doing today is the right thing to do tomorrow. We have fundamentally changed much of our payment structures and the payment alternatives. To give you one example, which was last year, when we added Google Pay and Apple Pay, it turns out also for B2B, like these are big payment alternatives. So let's work collaboratively and let's not assume that the payment solutions and the payment structure you have today is what you should have tomorrow. Zach, anything you want to add here?
Yeah, I agree with that, Henrik. And, ultimately too, like those used to working with us, we develop fast. We work on this quickly and have a whole team behind this. But, we want to help ensure that the solutions that we're building are the ones that are going to take you forward to next year, 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line. So we're certainly open to all the questions and the product feedback, and really want to work with our customers and partner with customers on this, and challenge each other to continue to drive the solutions. I think that ultimately is how we win together. And appreciate the questions from the group on these solutions.
And one thing that, just to add on to what Henrik said, what we noticed on Gelato Create and Optimal Print, and also going into more B2B, is people are placing a lot of orders on the phones. So again, we can bring all of the information that we're seeing on our side and help to guide on the solutions, especially with payment methods.
Next question here, Alyssa. It's from Jason Smith. For company stores in Store Link, is it possible to have orders submitted by employees but held for approval by a manager, for example, HR, before they go into production? Also, can this be tied to account terms instead of checkout payment?
I love that question. I can show you just now. So this is what the admin can see when an order is submitted. So you can decide as the store admin to approve or reject if you want an approval flow. Of course, you can let orders flow freely, but we also know, based on our experience, based on what all of you have told us, that there is the desire to see the approval flow, to see the product that's going through, to see how much is being spent, and also even to attach a PO number, make sure that's all correct. So already today, we do have an approval workflow for the admin. It can be approved or rejected. And then the second question was about the...
The second question is, can this be tied to account terms instead of checkout payment? And I guess what that means is, can we do this over invoicing instead of payments prepaid while you're checking out? But Jason, correct us if we're misinterpreting that. But Alyssa.
Yes, so if that's the question, then it is invoiced today with a PO number attached so that you can easily see which cost center or business unit is tied with the order.
Okay. Rusty Pepper is asking, are you able to integrate your stores with e-procurement platforms like Coupa and SAP, etc.?
Great question, Rusty. Thank you. So not yet, but I have been hearing a lot of desire to bring in different integrations. We have a great integration team who has been working on different things to plug our stores into. So would love to hear more about the integrations that you're looking for.
And just to add on that, if we go to how we built integrations or completed integrations like 6 months ago, before 6th of February, 6th of February was when Anthropic released, 4.6 Sonnet, and then 5.3 Codex from OpenAI, where everything changed overnight. I mean, the way we do integrations today is like, I'm not exaggerating if I say half an hour compared to a week, 2 weeks. So integrations is another work task that has been completely redefined by AI, I would say during the last months alone. So it's more a matter of, I think, what do we go after and what integrations are we looking for? It brings me to Ed McLean. Alyssa, can this integrate with the customer's procurement system, Jaguar, SAP, Ariba, etc., to punch out this storefront and then transfer the cart back to the complete purchase? That was a mouthful, but I don't know if you have an answer to that today or you want to come back to it.
I think it'd be a similar answer, Henrik. And just as you said, these integrations are going extremely quickly now. The team is, I would say, 10x faster at least than we were, if not, between 10 and 40x faster, especially with these integrations where there's very defined documentation. So I could see that working very quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have, thanks, JC, beautiful input here from a fellow PSP. We can offer flexible payment options to your customers through trusted providers like Affirm, Klarna, Afterpay, and ShopPay installments. This allows your customers to finance their purchases with simple monthly payments, making it easier to complete transactions while improving your overall sales. And it might seem strange that I'm reading out this loud, but some people are driving, and I just want to make sure people are capturing all the questions and all the comments here. So Alyssa, do you want to go back to your demo?
Yeah, I think I'll start wrapping up demo. I'll say a couple more things just related to what Stefan had talked about and what you spoke about with AI. So, we've heard some really, really great requests, especially around things like business cards, things like, can we have a vCard? Can we create, QR codes that can go on individual translated, localized cards? So I'm excited to say that all of that is in the works, along with the ability to upload custom fonts and a few other roadmap items that we shared in the email introducing Store Link. And I'm also excited to keep everyone in the loop about what's coming up next. We'll be
and also, sorry, were you done, Alyssa, or did I interrupt?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, I would just also like to say that things are moving so fast now, and when we are moving developers and engineers from our Gelato Create team and Gelato Consumer team into this, we are building this software with AI and these people with a speed of lightning. So do not hold back on requests. At the same time, I think we should have another webinar like this in 4 weeks from today. If you, Alyssa, can please help us organize that, because so much is happening in the meantime, from just in April alone as a month. So we want to keep this momentum going. And in the meantime, we received a couple of more questions and comments. So from Amit Anstad, is the Gelato Create platform capabilities available within storefront so customers can visualize their orders like business cards before ordering? That's the first question. Alyssa?
Yes. They can visualize it in the editor, they can see it, and then order it.
Great. Can I set up a B2B to C portal for my customer?
I would want to know what that sounds like, but I want to say yes. I mean, we've got all of the different integrations to Shopify, Etsy. I think that this store would allow you to do that as well. But if you have a specific use case, reach out and we'll talk.
Zach, do you want to comment on that, or do you read this question in a better way?
Yeah, I understand the use case, but I definitely think it's worth a conversation to further explore. And, Henrik, as you and I say, if we don't have it today, we'll have it Thursday.
Okay, perfect. From Jill or Gil, not sure if this is directly related to today's webinar, but since store links and payments are both being mentioned, I want to ask, is there a feature in the works that would allow us to invoice our connected stores for the orders before we batch them for production?
Good feedback. We can look more into invoicing options as well. Not yet, but let's hear more.
Yeah, let's hear more about that. But it is, the batching is more or less what we're doing in Create for some of the customers there. But let's take that. Will you? I mean, this is recorded, so let's take the questions and then get back to them if we don't have answers. Lotta from Oshats. Will all orders on Store Link that would be square meter based be transmitted by the AI estimator, or would the single products material, e.g. window vinyls, will be able to select the first product and then any size, like you showed with the business cards? Alyssa, do you have a clear answer on that now?
You would be able to set up the products that you want to show in the storefront. But again, we'll get back to each of you on the individual questions. Make sure that I fully understood the question that you're asking.
Or even better, let's just take the questions and we'll send them out to everyone participating on the call, right? So we do the follow-up to all of you. Nicole, will there be an apparel demo?
Well, we're running out of time today, but we can certainly set one up.
Okay, should we do that the end of next week?
Sure.
Alyssa? We'll
Yeah,
send a new
that's
one
great.
to all of you for apparel. I mean, the interesting thing, Nicole, and you know this, but the growth in apparel is like 35 to 45% in every country across the world. So apparel is really on fire. So I think it is a very good question, and it's a very topical question. From Liam, is there a way to have a portal so that our customers can just see the orders they have just placed, and not just through e-commerce, so customers can track order progress?
Yes, we actually have in the storefront that I just showed you, there's the ability to send emails out, for example, when orders are shipped, etc. So you can keep the store admins can keep the end customer in the loop without them having to reach out proactively. They can trigger emails, and we'll also be providing more and more information on order details pages.
Liam also followed up, and I think I have a good proposal here, Alyssa. Liam is asking, and is this available for us now, as I don't see all these options in my store link? My recommendation here is we do a Loom video, so everyone can easily understand, and we can just build that repository and improve usability and make it easier and easier to understand and find all these features. Zach, is there anything you want to add and anything you want to say of the slides that you just jumped over before we end the webinar?
We got 3 minutes, so I'll try to be quick. I do think back to the previous question around the portal and the customer orders and those updates. I hear so often like CSRs are fielding calls from customers saying, hey, where's my order? What's the status? Where is it at? By now having this in the post backs and triggers that we can provide around order status, there will be a huge shift in terms of being able to reduce calls and support requests and those types of things coming in from your customers, because now they have that visibility and it's going to be within their portal with the order statuses. So I think that'll save your teams a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails wondering where the orders are at, and it's all now ultimately going to be in that portal. And I think that's an important part of giving that visibility to your B2B clients.
Okay, well, thank you so much for attending and joining. We're looking forward to building this together with you. I just had a webinar with Print Association in the US. I just came from that webinar, and David Bennett was also participating, and he said to everyone that working with Gelato is working with a partner. It's not working with someone that just drops the software and then let it go, but we're working together, we're building this, and we take a lot of your guidance, a lot of energy from you in terms of where we need to go. And then we'll speak again next week. I'm not sure we're going to do this weekly, but anyway, we look forward to presenting apparel next week and answering also all your questions. So take care, and for everyone that celebrates Easter, happy Easter, and for the rest of you, happy weekend. Bye-bye.